Hello, I'm Kimberly, and welcome to the weekend edition of the Native News Update. It's Friday, August 2nd. Many of the stories you hear here can be found at IndianCountryTV.com. And here's the news for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. On July 30th, Secretary of the Interior Sally Jewell signed an historic agreement at the Department of the Interior that will guarantee water rights for the White Mountain Apache tribe of Arizona and provide water security for the city of Phoenix and other downstream water users. The White Mountain Apache Reservation includes more than 1.6 million acres in the headwaters of the Salt River Basin in Arizona. The agreement will provide funding for the design and construction of a rural water delivery system on the reservation and secure water flow for the city of Phoenix, which depends on the same river basin for basic water needs. The agreement is one of 4 Indian water agreements authorized in the Claims Resolution Act signed by President Obama on December 8, 2010. Maria Hinton, 103 years old, of Oneida, Wisconsin, passed away peacefully surrounded by her family on Sunday, July 28th. Maria's Oneida name was Yage Yale, which translates into English as She Remembers. Maria was a faith keeper of the Oneida Longhouse and one of the first state-certified Oneida language teachers in the country. She spoke fluent Oneida her entire life. It wasn't until she began attending the local government boarding schools as a young child that she began learning to speak English. Maria was passionate about teaching and preserving the Oneida language. She worked for over 20 years with her brother Amos Christ John, Dr. Clifford Abbott, and others to preserve the language in an Oneida dictionary. She and Dr. Abbott would later adapt it into an online version, complete with her voice. As an educator, Maria encouraged Indian country to look forward and keep building upon the quality of education we see today. The past is behind us, she said. Let's look to the future through the eyes of our children. After bungling the management of Indian lands for generations, the federal government wants to make amends by spending nearly $2 billion to buy 10 million acres of land for 150 tribes across the nation. To make the plan work, the government wants to find willing sellers to buy back reservation land it first gave to individual tribal members in 1887, often in tracts of 80 to 160 acres. Congress signed off on the land buy in 2010 to settle a lawsuit. The government had pledged to keep track of royalties generated from the land for such things as grazing and logging, but that money never went back to benefit tribal members as promised. The plan calls for the U.S. Department of the Interior, which oversees the Bureau of Indian Affairs, to buy back more than 92,000 parcels from private landowners. The effort, expected to last until 2022, will begin with pilot projects in Washington State, Montana, and South Dakota. Most of the $1.9 billion will buy land in the Great Plains and Rocky Mountain regions. The biggest expenditure is expected on the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota, where the government estimates it will cost $126 million to buy back nearly 1.2 million acres. Years planning to build a tribal fish hatchery for research and selected restocking came to fruition August 1st for the Little Traverse Bay Bands of Ottawa. The tribe opened its first fish hatchery in an unveiling ceremony, which has been planning and fundraising for since 1998. The 80-acre property will house both office and lab space, as well as 2 large ponds capable of raising up to 40,000 fingerlings each. Select species such as walleye, lake herring, whitefish, and sturgeon will be studied on the property by the Ottawa Natural Resources. The $2.5 million facility, including about $1.8 million for construction and roads, includes funding from the U.S. Bureau of Indian Affairs, Michigan Conservation Fund, Tribal General Fund dollars, as well as $500,000 from CMS as part of the CMS energy cleanup effort at Bay Harbor. The facility is already set to release 3,500 lake sturgeon fingerlings into the Burt Lake watershed in September, under an agreement between the Michigan Department of Natural Resources and the Black River Sturgeon Facility. Native Americans on the Pine Ridge Reservation received special shoes from Crocs Cares. The 600 pairs of shoes are beneficial for people with diabetes. The shoes donated by Crocs Cares are wider and aerated, adding comfort for swollen diabetic feet, plus the extra width of the shoes also accommodate diabetic socks. Crocs has donated millions of shoes in developing countries, and with partners like National Relief Charities, Crocs now provides shoes throughout the U.S. The partnership between Crocs and the National Relief Charities evolved around NRC's ongoing relationship with the reservations. The Native American communities served by NRC estimate that 30 to 50% of tribal members suffer from diabetes. And that's another roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. I'd like to thank you for joining me and have a grand day.